Hey, how you guys doing? All right. We're going over a game between Jennifer and Christina Yip. And then at the very end, when we're done, almost to the very end, we're going to do the Dominguez game versus Timur. So I just wanted to make sure. Hold on. Uh, Not responding. Just give me a second. Give my computer a sec. Our computers could be rebellious. There we go. She played the English opening. Actually it's called the Great Snake Variation. Knight C3. I didn't know there was a variation like that. Bishop G7, G3, E6, Bishop G2, Knight E7, D4, D5, C takes D5, E takes D5, and then Knight F3. And now Jennifer's fully developed. Castles, kingside for Christina, Christian. I'll just call her Yip. Yip. And then knight or castles for Jennifer. Knight B C6 for Yip. A3 and knight F5. So a lot of their pieces are starting to flow in to centralized squares. It's kind of really odd. The set for the knight being here, almost all the pieces look very symmetrical, and a set for the pawn chain, but I mean it just looks kind of similar in play. E3, A6, knight E2 or E1, C E7, and this move now puts the question saying I'm thinking about going B6 and C5, and I want to create my hanging central pawns. C6, B3, and now potentially we have the ability to go maybe B4, B5, but you don't want to, as Jeremy Silman would say in his endgame course, you don't want to make a deep freeze. That'd be a horrible decision, because then you'd have to go here. You'd want to play like A5 and then B4 and try to expand on the queen side. Knight D6. Yip is trying to, she's waiting for Jennifer to play B4 and then drop her knight into C4, which is a wonderful outpost for this knight. It's really happy. Knights would love to be either on C6 or C5. So C4 or C3 is a wonderful square for the knight to be on. A4, A5, Bishop A3 to take scope on these knights here. Rook E8, Rook E1. And now, if Jennifer wanted to, she could create an isolated pawn and play around that. But you have to love isolated pawns, and at this moment there isn't anything defending D4, so it'd be a silly move to play E4. Knight EF5, Queen C2, and h5 at this point. She's trying to make as much counterplay as she can. Black saying to white, "What you doing? What are you doing? I'm looking for any weaknesses." And basically, white doesn't have really any weaknesses at this moment. So black's trying to provoke weaknesses. And that's kind of what Christina's idea is. H3. This kind of is like it gives the king a pocket to go to. H2. Knight H6. Now Christina could actually play or F5 and boy, have a lot of potential pawn breaks, to say the least. Okay, the bishop F5. It's like black's trying to find a weakness in white's fortification, but black can't find a pinhole to shoot from. Like a sniper, all they need is a small little hole to shoot from. But black can't even find a spot to cause any damage in white's camp. Everything is all nicely solidified. There's really, so black's like shuffling their pieces around trying to find something. Queen C1. And my teacher called this when pieces are perfectly placed. They're hard to find better moves for those pieces. And that's kind of what hey, yeah, I didn't get in until a little later. And then rook C8, knight F4, king H8. No, she didn't lose. She actually won this one. Christina Yip was black. It's just like she's a solid player. I gotta say that Jennifer is very solid. B5. Now the Christina has to actually lash out with an attack to find any weakness. So B5's not a bad move. It's taking scope on the weaknesses. So if Jennifer took and then took, there'd be a pin here, and so you'd have to play bishop c5 anyways. But then Christina would actually have the ability to play a4 potentially right now. So b4, knight, and so Jennifer wants to keep everything closed. But this bishop kind of now is a little sensitive. It does have an outpost, so it's a really wonderful place, and potentially maybe, boy, it would love to somehow trade off for this, play knight in and come in. A knight would be more wonderfully placed there, but actually at this moment this bishop is doing some good damage if you want to think about it. Bishop c5, knight b7, bishop d2, d3. There we go. They're waiting for this to happen so that the knight would come in. And then potentially e4 would be playable here. It takes, and then we can get some damage going. g5, queen g5, knight f2, or not knight f2, king f2. Bishop takes d3, rotates d3, knight takes c, and then queen takes. So now the queen has come to that outpost, which is not really where it wants to be. Knight f5. Okay. Now we're starting to get a touch of sensitivity in White's camp. E4, bishop f8. And now wow, she actually traded, huh? Now White's the one. It's interesting. White actually has started the attack now. It's White who's ready for the attack. Rook d2, knight e6, takes, and then f4, rook d8, and rook c2, and then h4, rook a6, h takes g, king takes g, and then bishop g7, which there's a double attack on this pawn. Rook takes, knight takes, bishop takes, and then bishop takes. If she played rook takes, I'm not sure if this would actually have ended in a draw. I'm not sure if it would have ended in a draw or not, because bishops of opposite color are pretty drawn. No, it's still a whole pawn up, so I'm thinking that yeah, rook, so bishop takes was slightly better. Takes. And surprisingly, that was a wonderfully played endgame. That was a beautifully played endgame. She didn't get taken in by taking here. She realized that this bishop. One second. She realized that the bishop actually in this pawn kept out this king. So now what Jennifer can actually do is the theory of two weaknesses. Bishop goes to e6, and then king can start making its in route, like via, let's see here, if here, this could actually happen. And now there's really nothing that Christina could do but resign, because that pawn's going to fall. Okay. Are we ready? Alright. We are starting our tactics. Let's do it to it. Okay. Okay, rook takes. I think we've done this before. If I'm not mistaken. Rook takes g2, check. King f1, rook f5, check. King e2 or e1, king e1. looking. See, rotates G2, check, king F1, rook F5, check, king E1. Maybe rook F5, F2. We're black. I'll bishop F3. Well, that would work, wouldn't it? Alrighty. So king F5, king E1. Well, bishop F3, rook to D2. Bishop D5, rook takes D5. So rook G1, rook G1 check, king D2, rook D5 check, king C2, and then rook G2 check, king C3, and rook takes D1. Is that right? Is that kind of what you're thinking? we pick up a whole rook, but I'm. So you're thinking that. So we're looking at potentially rook e5. Is that what you're saying? Because rook d5 would be rook takes d5. Oh yeah, exactly. I agree with you on that. If rook g1, then king e2, if he does play that, bishop f3 check wins on the spot. So I'm trying to think. I'm thinking that this does work. There we go. Let me see here. Bishop c5, 5 check, king takes d3, knight knight f3, a1 equals queen. Maybe bishop f6, d4, knight e2, if a1 equals queen, then bishop takes d4 check. So, So, bishop f6, bishop, d4, knight e2, king takes e2, bishop takes d4, king takes d3, and then bishop goes back to h8, I think, and then holds. Oh, that would work too. Oh, yeah, knight f3 is better. That would make sense. Oh, so knight e2 did work. That was kind of a weird one. I don't know. Let's see here. There has to be a reason why the other one doesn't work. Let's see here. Here. Oops. Here. Here. Ah, it's a draw. There we go. Ay, ay, ay. Be right back. 1 second. Well, the knight can't take the bishop because it would be pinned. Yep, so we got it. Knight takes d3. Queen takes d3. I really don't see any I mean, knight takes d. We could potentially play knight takes d4 after we take the queen. I'm liking that idea. We might play queen takes d4 maybe. That might hold. Can we first? Dread, I wanna. Thinking if queen, queen takes d4, bishop takes c3, queen takes c3, check, queen d2, then we have queen takes a1 check. We really can't castle because that we castle right into checkmate. So you can't castle because he has a ready mate right now. So castles would lead to castle kingside would lead to mate. Well, if we did that, if we after I see what you're saying. I don't think I would take the rook. I think I'd come back after winning the rook and then start some attacks with my bishop and my queen. I don't really care about this rook. I can win it later. So there we go. Kazam. Bishop takes. Queen takes check. Queen d2. And then I'm thinking we do win this here. King, Queen d2. And then now we can take here. King comes up. Oh, bishop. Actually, I'd probably just take here. Takes d. Ooh, maybe not. That might be bad. Bishop j4. Then queen e5. There we go. King, if king takes here, then we can actually castle queenside right onto the queen. That's, you gotta love that. Kazam right there. Wow. Okay. Yeah, some of those continuations are cool. Like if the king would have walked in front, who would have thought castling queenside picks up the queen? You gotta love that. That's a game you'd want to show your friends right there, if that ever did happen. That's one thing I was looking at this move here. We first got to White's threat is rook takes f7, check. But I'm liking it. I think we're fine. I'm thinking that this sets up. His threat was actually taking here, and maybe king h8. I'm thinking king h8 at this point. King h8, and then we have no more problems, no more checks. If we try blocking, yeah. Zero takes g4, there takes. You have to always think of your opponent's next 3 or 4 best moves, and that his best move would have been to constantly be checking us. We really don't have time. We have to play rook takes g4, check to free up a spot, check. Queen takes g4, and rook takes g4, check. Oops. King takes g4, and that frees up a spot for our king to flee to. This frees up a spot for our king. I remember last time from that one move last night that you have to sometimes sacrifice to have a winning position for your king. You need a spot for your king to flee to, and he was threatening a mate. He was threatening a mate on h1. So how we freed it up by is giving up our 2 rooks to free up a spot. We get a queen, then we can start munching on. We'd munch on the c4 pawn, and then we'd munch on the d5 pawn, and we then, if he tries checking on h1, we go king g8, and even if he grabs f7, we're still good. We have these 3 passers, so that's enough adequate compensation right there. Oh, it is? Probably. Did I miss a fork there? Well, even yeah, probably there might be a fork there too as well, so. Let's see. I'm looking at h5 here. Take a look at h5. Let's see, h5. There's also knight takes d7. Excuse me. So let's see here. But I don't know if we're going for mate. Knight g4. But I don't see the mate though. I don't see how we checkmate our opponent. I see check. If knight g4, if knight e2 check, king h1. Maybe queen f6, queen h5, queen f6, queen h5, h6 check, king g8. Knight f3 check would be taken by g takes f3. So I think we'd be okay in that line. I don't really see much of a problem. I think we'd be fine. We are down a lot of material, so this might have to end in a perpetual. This may have to end in a perpetual. I'll go with we're down boatloads of material, so I'm thinking it might be knight f6 check, king g7, knight h5 check, king h7, and then knight f5, knight f6 check, and then it'd be a draw. Yeah. We're down. See how many pieces we're down? We're down 2 whole pieces. There's no way really to survive this. It has to go to perpetual. I forgot to count how many pieces we were down. When I realized we were down 2 minor pieces, I was like, this is a perpetual. If there is no mate right off the bat, it has to be perpetual at that point. So let's see, how many pieces are we down? Only 1. So potentially one of our pieces was sacrificed to set up this position here that we're looking at. I'm looking at potentially e takes d4 check, or bishop d2 check. Maybe. Let's see here. Let's try e takes. But we're down material though. So do we want to so bishop takes f3, check, queen takes f3, queen takes f3, e takes d4, check, king e2, king e2. So good idea, but you gotta, we're down a piece, or our queen's on a file, that there's a problem. Yeah, that's the only sitch. We have this here on us, and we're down a piece. He's trying to make a flight square for his king. Yeah. I think that is the only move that could be played at this point. Because we have to trade our pieces down. Now that now potentially we could play e takes d4, if king e2, then do we have bishop takes f3, check? Not sure about that one. If bishop takes f, well, maybe we could take the pawn and queen it. Well, maybe we could play bishop takes f3, rook takes h8, rook takes h8. King takes f3, and then e takes d4. Yeah, that's what we were thinking about there. Yeah. I think it's okay because e2, king e2, and then what we potentially could do is actually push. And the queen can't take, and if the king takes, then we take back, and we're good. Yeah, okay. Yeah, the queen's pinned, so this actually would work, and then we take back, and he checks us. We're forced to move our king at that point, so we gotta move the king. Rook takes. Yeah. It's all based on removing the guard of this square. And we're up 2 pawns, I believe, in that line. Let us see here. Okay, b4, king takes h3, b5, king g3, a6, king. Let me do this. Yeah, we are stepping it up a notch. Okay, b4, king takes h3, b5, king g3, a6, h3, b takes a7, h2, and b8 equals queen check. King goes to g2, and then we take the pawn. I think we're the owner. I think that's it. Oh, my bad. Oh, no. Yeah, that was my bad. I moved too fast. Let's see here. You have to turn it into a rook. What am I missing here? Oh. That's funny. That is funny. So here. Okay, turn to a rook. Oh, you have to give that up. And you turn to a queen. That was my fault there. Yeah. Almost stalemate. It was almost a stalemate. Gotta remember to keep that type of. I went for it. I thought for sure we'd be okay there, but I have to remember sometimes you have to, like what you just said, you have to send them into Zugzwangp. Ooh, we got this one's a pretty fun one. G3, check. H takes G3, queen takes G3, king E2, bishop G4, check, king E3, and bishop takes D1. I believe that's the move. Ooh, queen g3, huh? Well, yeah, that would be mate, wouldn't? Well, no. Bishop take. Oh, queen takes f3 would be mate. That's right. Yeah, that's right. Queen takes f3 would be mate. Yeah, that's right. Queen takes f. No, queen takes f3 wouldn't be mate, would it? No, wait a sec. Queen takes f3, king e1, and then queen g3 is mate. That's right. This here. And then now this is mate. So f5. Oh yeah, I remember this one. Yeah, king c5. You're funny. I think we, yeah, h4. I thought it might be h4. Let's see. Let's make sure. h4, king e7. Just wanted to make sure. f5, king e6, f4, king e5, h3, and then I think we're good, yeah. I just wanted to run this past you. Is f5 the right move? Just wanted to make sure if I'm seeing it right. f5, right? Yeah, you have to get in front of the king. I believe f5 is right. Just wanted to make sure. Is f5 right? Yep, perfect. Okay, just wanted to make sure because it's never bad to get a second opinion on that. Uh, I like that picture economy. That's cute, kinda. Let's see here. Queen e6. Queen e6 check is an idea. Or queen c5 check is also one too. Well, we do. Hey, I guess I missed a whole bunch of them. Let me just put them all in. There's actually those that are possibly playable. Thinking that c5 is the only one that that keeps with our idea. Queen c5, c5 check. Let's see if oh yeah, if king b7, so we have to figure out what to do after king b7. That's, oh boy. Let me see, is it queen b5 check? Oh, knight d6. Let's see what he moves. Oh, queen b7. Thinking potentially queen b5, check, king c7. Queen c5, king d7, queen takes a7 check, king d6, actually king e6. Let me start checking. Yeah, queen b5 is the, whoa. Well, we only have one move for a check then. This kind of helps us with that, which is queen c6 check, king b8, queen b5 check. Maybe we get a perpetual at that point. He's got to be careful that he doesn't walk into any mating ideas. Yeah, there we go. Okay, then let's see, what can we do? We only have one check, so b5 has to be, queen b5 has to be the only check there. That's the only perpetual. We got him in perpetual at that point. You have to corner him and then perpetual. Is this a mate? Is queen e8 mate? I think that's mate. Yep. the rating is pending. I'm kind of looking, I'm wondering if it has to do with, yeah, knight f4 I was looking at either knight f4 check or queen e1 check or knight f2 check. Trying to figure this out here. Yeah. Let's see here. So knight f4. That is a good move. That's the only solid move I see, because the other ones lead to nothing. That leads to nothing. So now that we know that he's not going to intercept, so we're kind of I think we win. Do we win the queen? I think we win the queen. Yeah. Queen e1 check, rook f. Oh, queen might come there. Queen f1, and then knight e2 is mate, so the queen can't go there. Queen e1 check, rook f1, knight e2 check, queen takes e2, queen takes e2. Yeah, there we go. And there's the mate. Oh, it's not mate. What did I miss? Oopsie daisy. Okay, so that wasn't me. Drat. No, we don't want to do it. If we're down a ton of material here, we got to go for mate. We got to go for mate. I'm thinking queen. Queen h4 check. Rook h3. Knight. Oh boy, what am I missing? Knight g3 check. King g1. I don't know, man. This is knight g3. Knight g3. Oh, wow, the rook didn't take. I guess the queen would that had been made if he had a so now knight takes g3 wins. Yeah, knight takes g3 or g1. Yeah, that was kind of a quirky one. Let's see knight there. If he takes here, you could actually play queen f2, and you gotta love this attack. Attack the pin piece. Loving it. Spicy for sure, yeah. So the king has to move. After here, you take there, and bishop here. Let me see here. That's mate, so you can't do that. Only move is here. King comes up, mate. Nice, nice. Let's see here. Bishop d6, check, king e8. Rook e7 check, king d8, knight f7 check, king c8. Yeah, I know this is the first move because you have to get out of this tack. Now the second move is another thing. Knight e7, knight rook e7 check, king d8, knight f7 check, king c8. I'm thinking that king D. Ooh, interesting. Yeah. Yeah, that wins a piece, doesn't it? Nice. Nice work. Had to look a little deeper. Let's see if I remember this one. There's queen h5 check, king d7, queen f5 check, king e1 e8, queen g6 check, king d7, e6 checkmate. Well, maybe I'm missing something. Maybe I might be missing some. Queen f5. There is e6. Am I missing some? But then but see what happens after that. Yeah, if we play queen f5 check, e6 happens. Yeah, then the knight would have a problem. Oh, I got it. I have it. It's queen. Sorry, it's queen f7. Queen f7 is the move. I don't. Well, no. I think I think e6 has to be the. Yeah, I think e6 has to be the move. Yeah. Yeah, I'm thinking e6 has to be that has to be the move there. And now we see we have a bishop. We now have freed up our dark. Let me see here. How can we checkmate now? I think it's queen. Can't be right. It's not queen g6. Queen g4 potentially. g3. The only reason queen f7 didn't work was the knight could take on e5 and it wouldn't be as flexible. Wait, I'm trying to figure this one out. Let me see it. I remember it. I'm trying to go through my Rolodex in my mind of the patterns because I do remember this. I'm trying to remember if it's not g4. I know g6 doesn't work because knight goes to f3 blocking and covers g4. Yeah. Actually, I'm kind of looking at bishop d3. I'm looking at, yeah. I'm liking bishop d3. Bishop d3, allows for more flexibility of the king movement. Now at this point, this is where we, I believe, deliver the mate, because now we can bring queen g6 in, check, and if knight f6, then we have bishop f5 mate. Let's see, there, yeah. Oh, he ran away. I don't like that. I don't like when they run away. Didn't go along with my plan now. Well, I guess it still does, because even if he pushes, we could take. Yeah, so let's just stick with the plan. And we'll take a look why bishop g3. I'll show you. I believe it has something to do with... oops, there we go. I think it has something to do with, oh, king f6. King f6 is the reason. Okay. King f6, then g5. He runs away at that point. He actually runs. There's only one move that wins, and it's this. Because then when he comes here, this is actually mate. But if we'd played here, he can actually run, and when we can't do that now because the bishop covers this here. So this bishop covers our bishop at that point. But this makes it so that there is no route for him to go down after he can't run now. And if he pushes, we'll play queen takes e6. Okay, queen d6 is kind of a forced move here. I mean, not queen d6, knight d6. Knight d6 check. King. If king a7, then we have queen, let's see, a king a6. King a6 loses to queen to a3 mate. So knight d6 check. King a7. Queen a3 check. King b8, and then potentially queen to I think we can skewer at that point. Yeah. Oh, queen a3. Oh, drat. There is no route via there. Let's see if we can walk him down the board. Queen Queen c7, I believe is the only queen c7 check. King a6, queen c4. Yeah. Yeah. And then now we have to we have to figure out Which check do we want to do? King A5, Queen C3, check, King A4, Queen C4, King A3. Yeah. Can't go to A8. Can't go to C5. Only move is C3. And then Queen C4 is the only move really. I guess we could. No, Queen C4 keeps the king, so we check him up and down the board. Well, we almost got mate here. He walked right into mate. Knight B5, check. King B2. King B2. What else now? Now I'm trying to get in the zone. Okay, Queen C3, Queen C3, check, King A2, Queen A3, check, King B1, and Knight C3 I think is mate. Hold on, let me see here. Queen B4, check. King A2, Knight C3, check. King A1, Queen B1, mate. Would that be right? Oh, Queen C3, okay. So close close to mate. We're so close to mate. I could taste the mate. What am I missing here? Close. What's the sitch? Let me see. Queen b3. Check. But the king can go to a2. Oh, then knight. Then okay. Queen a2. Queen check there. Okay. Let me see about this. Queen c1 check, king a2, queen a3 check, king b1, knight, there we go. Then we have knight c3 mate. Okay, whew, we got it. There we go. Wow. I think we're gonna call it on this one, and then do a Dominguez versus the other one. Boy, that was a hard one. Wowzers. That was a tough one. We had to arrange our queens and the knight in the right order to mate. Hey, you know what? It's great. We're gonna be doing. We get to do a game. I love doing games at the very end. They're fun to go over. This one turned the tide of the U.S. Championship. Timur actually held here. Yeah, it was. This is the game that, and because he held, Nakamura won. They counted out Timur, and Timur came to play, as we would like to say. Come on, wait, come on. Work with me. There we go. So it tells you don't count any player out. Play your best and win, and let your game talk for you, not just their rating. Knight f3, knight c6, d4. C takes d4, knight takes d4, knight f6, knight c3. So he played a Sicilian, an open Sicilian. And then d6 here. It's a classic open. f3, and then knight, not knight, e5. This is all about gaining space in the center. Knight b3, and then bishop e6. It's surprising because Timur usually plays very aggressive here. It was like he was on a mission at this point to not lose. So it tells you, you know what, when a player wants to win, they will do it, or at least draw, even if you're against a really high level player like Dominguez. Knight e7 and c4. He's trying castles. Bishop e3, a5, and then queen d2, a4. He played knight d7, which I'm thinking that this supposedly they said was actually the best move, but I don't know. Bishop takes, pawn takes, queen takes. I think that wins a pawn. I'm not sure if it is actually the best. So, oh, knight takes. So that's what they're wanting. And then queen would take, bishop takes, pawn takes. So you're making his pawn structure bad for black. Huh. I didn't think that he would take there, because that'd be silly. I wouldn't want to take his bad bishop. That'd be bad. And then you'd have to, I guess you could take here. Actually, probably bishop takes would happen. Pawn takes, and then here. I don't like black's pawn structure, so I think Timur did the right idea. It's kind of a hard one to drop your knight in there, especially against such a hard opponent like Domingos. You don't want to show any signs of vulnerability. F5. He takes F. Bishop takes F. This, and C takes. Kind of odd that you would walk right into a pin like that, though. Maybe something like this and trying. Can't he just hold like that then? Kind of odd. Takes. Bishop E2. H check. He's provoking weaknesses. Rook D1, which was kind of a, in theory, it looks very dubious, but, and if you can, try to get an outpost. This does make sense, and then potentially you have some attacking infiltration points via that. So even Rook D1 was somewhat dubious. Knight E6, castles, and then C D4. Now Timur's idea kind of has some merit to it, because this idea here, because if takes, then the knight would come in happily and say, like the joke is, honey, I'm home, type of thing. It's like it's got a beautiful home that it's never gonna leave from unless it gets traded off, which then it would be moving up. Joke. Okay. Because it would be it'd want to move up after, if it was getting attacked, it would go back to its outposts like Alexander had outposts. It would just retreat back in that line. So F. Okay, bishop G5, bishop F1, and bishop takes, rook takes, and queen. Bishop takes E3, queen takes E3, and rook C8. This pawn really does some damage. If you take here, he'll take there, and now this you're giving an attacking player some leverage, and you don't want to do that. He'd probably have to play there, and he'd retreat back. Be more than happy to provoke the weakness. So F4. Takes, H6, H4. This is an interesting move I was kind of considering as well, but I don't know if it's altogether that good, because it could potentially end up being a vulnerable point of an attack. But the queen could come over a guard and then start some attacks too. So C6, pawn takes, queen takes, rook D2 was a slight inaccurate move here. A mistake. It was a mistake. You need to keep your pieces together unified. So potentially maybe knight Knight F4 would have been a better idea. With some ideas like that are D2. It seems good because you're on the same file as the rook. I mean, as the queen. Rook. The rook's on the same file as the queen. Nice CD. Takes. Yeah. And this was the move that was a brilliant move. This was it was forced, but it kind of was a move that not many chess players would see. So A3, knight check, queen takes, and then after this move, there was no way that Dominguez was going to win. This was the last, as they say, nail in the coffin for the draw. Check. Queen F5. And it would have eventually went to a draw here. You would have got a little bit more activity, but he decided just to stick with the checks, which isn't a bad move. Yeah. And then B5 was what was played here. Now his queen is centralized, and what can white really, or black really, I mean, what can white do right now? But go into checks. This pawn right here stops the king from advancing, so potentially maybe moving the, but you might have a problem with some attacks coming, so maybe he could have moved his king around. Kept trying to look for ways of getting in. And now at this point, it's a pure out draw. Yep. So he might have been able to hold. And at this point, it was a threefold repetition, so they agreed to a draw here. And Hikaru Nakamura was granted the title of U.S. champion. Okay, do you have any questions on this? Before I log off. Give you a minute to think. That is true. Blindfold chess does help with visualization. So I'll take that as that you don't have any questions on this. Okay. Well, do you know what? You have to always remember that you have to treasure your victories and learn from your losses. And remember that mistakes do not define you. It is how you handle the mistake that defines you as a chess player. And Bruce Lee said, I fear not the man who has practiced I fear not the man who has practiced 10,000 kicks once, but I fear the man who has practiced one kick 10,000 times. And we can even apply that to E. Nightingale's we become what we think about. That's very vital to a chess player when you go into a game. If like Timur went in there with the dedication that he wasn't going to lose. So draw for Timur was a victory in against Dominguez because of how strong Dominguez was. So congratulations to Timur. And you know what? Like what Yasser Seirawan says, every long journey begins with one small step. So your first step, it may look very small, but it starts your journey. Same thing with if you like are writing. The first sentence starts your book or your essay or whatever you're working on in your classes or in your job. Or as the Lord would say, your profession or talent, the talents He's given you. Well, you know, we have to keep in mind that we take what we know and then we apply it, and then we have to be willing and do something with it. So that's the whole thing. Like the one ground, I know we talked about the grounds a lot, but it's really important that there's like 4 different grounds. There's the one that you have a talent that you cast it off to the side. Then there's one that you're a talented player, but you have a losing streak maybe for a while, and rather than go over your losses to find out where you can improve, you give up on chess, and that's when the seed sprouts really good, but then the sun hits it and it fades away and withers up and basically just withers up. Then you have the ground that I find is the hardest for most chess players to progress is the ground of the weedy grounds, where weeds can be anything, things that draw you away from the field that the Lord has for you to do. And within no time at all, a weed can spread seed, and all of a sudden you have a whole weeded garden. Rather than having good crops in there, weeds are taking all the nutrients from your crops, and you may have some crops, but you won't have as much as if you had just weeded it at the beginning and then let it grow, and let the Lord bring the rain and the sun and the wind and all the nutrients that it needed. We just have to be the ones to do our part, which is to study. It's not an easy thing when others are doing stuff out there and we're like, we want to do that, but we have to remember, if you want to get better, my friends, you have to give up something right now, so that later on when you do succeed, you'll be so glad that you did. And if you wanted to do that later on in life, you could. But you know what? I remember what my parents taught me. They said, you can't spend a second twice. So you either spend it doing something that's going to help the field that you're in, and it helps push you onward, or you do the other thing and it doesn't help you progress any further. So, and I always I like the Winnie the Pooh movie, the new one, and the daughter of Christopher Robin asked, "What's a Tigger?" And so we have "What's a chest cruncher?" So when you're studying and your friend comes over and wants you to do whatever the other thing what they're doing, and it doesn't help in your chest study or whatever field you're in, you could say, "I'm a chest cruncher," and if they don't know what it is and they ask you what a chest cruncher is, you can tell them this: we hang up our coat, we hang up our hat, we sit down and study when most won't. We do, and that makes all the difference. And then you could say, you can come study with me too. Chess is fun. And then you can talk to them about chess and the Lord. And you know what? Who knows? You may have changed somebody's life for the better by teaching them chess. You know what? They may find their um, area that maybe they were missing when they were younger, and they become really great. Like Elekine was an older gentleman, and he started chess. So you have to always remember, it's not about the age; it's about the heart and the dedication. Okay, and again, congratulations to Jennifer Yu and Hikaru Nakamura for both winning their divisions in the U.S. Championship. And I'll leave you with that. As Wesley So says for the Lord Jesus, and as I say, God bless, and I'll see you tomorrow on Chess Cruncher TV. Have a blessed morning, afternoon, and evening, and Lord willing, I'll be back on tomorrow. And we'll keep pushing forward and on our road to 2700. We will get there, and to even greater feats, because we won't stop until we're number one. Okay, be blessed. Go Team Chess Cruncher, hoorah, and keep chess crunching always. Bye bye. Be blessed, and I'll see you tomorrow.